how to make your AI so powerful it feels like it's illegal. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And what we're going to be talking about is about plugging your AI agent with Autoresearch. So this is a public GitHub repository published by Andre Karpathis, this dude, big deal, who is an AI. He basically figured out this unique way how to get AI agents to run their own research through loops and constantly improving their own performance. And it's making a lot of news. A lot of people talk about it. So really the way it works is so you understand what is going on here, and I'll share you exactly how you can do this yourself, what I did to increase my performance and exactly with what, so you can kind of see some ideas. So then where you can inject it into, say, some process in your business, into your personal life, where if the AI agent iterates and uses loops over time, over a specific amount of intervals, or however you are getting this thing to launch its own research to improve its performance in whatever, whether it's conversions, sales processes, whether it's, say, trading, whether it's something else where there is some sort of quantitative metric or measurable result. Like, say, you're optimizing conversions on, say, a sales page, or, say, a landing page, or something else where there's some sort of metric where you can optimize it and then, say, either mimic real data or use some sort of data from some database that you have, or some sort of metrics or reports that you're pulling in for the AI agent to use and base its training off. So just so you understand what this thing is doing, is there are 3 core files that work when it comes to this Autoresearch loop. So I do want to just kind of understand high level. I'm not going to go too deep into the technical weeds of it, and quite honestly, I don't even understand like the full deep weeds of it, and I don't think it's even necessary. You really just plug this thing into your agent and then it just gets to work. But just from a high level, so you understand how the car actually works, right? Like how this thing actually works, there's 3 key files that this thing works off of, and I'll show you just here in a moment of a graphic so you can kind of reference everything. But the way it works is that there are really just 3 core files. So there's a data collector and pulls some sort of information, there's a file that processes things, and then there's like an output layer. So there are 3 core files. So there's the program.md, there's a train.py, and then there is a results, then there's also a prepare.py. Here on my computer, so I found, I used Miro to kind of show visually what the loop may kind of look like, and then I found this online by some guy who created it, which is a pretty good demonstration of what this exactly is. But there is this prepare.py, which this runs once, you never modify it, but here all the data goes into it. This train.py file, this is exactly what is editable by the agent. And then the program.md, this is the agent operating instruction. So whether you're doing it, whether, say, you're prompting your agent to modify it after, say, it's ran a test or something like that. So the way this flow works here is that the agent, it reads the program.md, so like the high level goals of what you're trying to get this thing to research off. So the train.py, this is the file that is edited and iterated on by the agent. It runs its training, runs the prepare.py to compute everything, and then it logs all of its outputs in this results.tsv. And with this file here, what the agent can do is that it can read it at the start of each iteration to analyze past results, decide on the next code to modify in the train.py, and ensure only improvements are committed, creating an audit trail for review, right? So it kind of has an understanding of what it's doing. And this is why it's like so powerful, because if it can create its own trainings, it can look at past performance, it can figure out what it should maybe tweak, what it should maybe audit, what it should change. Then this is a true Autoresearch loop where literally these things are self-improving and getting better by the experiment that they are running. If we come back here, I mean, I understand here that the program.md, it's not supposed to be modified by the human, but even if it says that, it doesn't mean you have to modify it yourself. You can literally just prompt the agent and it'll create the outline of the base instructions for what you're trying to get this thing to do. And then you'll just have that there and not have to worry about it, and just let the AI agent run its own loops, run its own iterations of a experiment it's running on. And then from there, it's just gonna start cooking something. So how I applied it is I actually want to show you right now in a trading dashboard. I actually had some of this stuff here in my Miro, some screenshots from earlier. But all right, so this is paper money. This is obviously not real money. What I did was I ran a Autoresearch loop on a trading account where I have access. So I'm using Alpaca right now, and they have a MCP server where what you can do here is you can connect a agent to, and it can start trading crypto. I believe you can start trading stock options. It can trade public stocks. I'm not too sure exactly like everything you can trade on this platform, so don't roast me up for that. But what I do know is that you can trade crypto on it. So that's where I want to start, right? So we started with that. There was about $100,000 in the account when I started. And the one, believe it or not, so all these trades here, they're at 10,000 a pop. Other than this one was for 500, but this one is outperforming every single other trade here. So this one, by percentage gain, it has a 12% percentage gain. And just so you understand, like if you look here, these are like way smaller. So it's somewhere like 2%, not bad. So we're pretty much green on literally everything. We're pretty much, this is all profitable and this is all trading 24/7 without me touching anything. What's happening here is that my agent it's trading on the, I believe, the 15-minute chart cycles to 1 hour chart cycles. And what's happening here is it's looking for trading positions for all these crypto coins with Doge also as well, which it hasn't found a buy signal yet. And then what it's doing is it's looking every 15 minutes on the market, whether or not a buy signal or sell signal is there to either open a position, close one, or just don't do anything. And when there's a buy signal, then it's just going to buy, hold the position, and then exit once our sell criteria is triggered. And exactly what is the buy and sell signal? Well, right now there is a few things I did. So what I did was I gave it access to 2 to 4 years of historical cryptocurrency data for all of these assets here. And then what I did was I told it to find some strategies we can apply and then use the auto research tool, the auto research capability for the agent to develop its own trading algorithm, its own trading strategy. So I didn't tell it what strategies to do, but what it did was it picked a price action strategy combining volume RSI. If you know what that is, it's a type of price action of like, or I guess you can say just candlestick strategy when you're just trading charts, and then a few other things. And then what it was doing here, it was tweaking its various different criteria of what's good, what isn't good. And through a couple cycles of running this thing, it found a really good strategy that was just outperforming everything else. And then after we were able to discover that, what we did was we scheduled a cron where it checks every 15 minutes. Cron job, or just like a scheduled task, checks every 15 minutes the market price values. And from there it trades. And then throughout the day, from 8 a.m. PS or PDT to, I believe, 5, it gives me updates every 3 hours on my positions. And then it's just a simple message in Discord. But guys, I didn't do any of this. I'm not even touching the positions. It's going to sell when the sell criteria comes. And we've been holding these positions for about a week now. So it's trading on like sort of the hourly cycle, which is, it does take a few days for trades to materialize. And then the only negative trade we got right now is XRP USD. This one's down by about 2%. But you know, I'm not trying to make this video about trading. The whole point of this video is what you can do is you can go out there and wherever there are measurable quantitative KPIs or metrics that you look for, you can get the agent to figure out and devise a strategy based on what exists. Maybe it creates its own. And then what you can do here is start fetching data, getting this thing some real-time data. So I think one of the best real-time data is you can fetch it with trading. And then from there, what you can do is you can get this thing to start cooking. It can start optimizing, say, landing pages, sales calls, or I don't know, anything else you can imagine, like viewership, thumbnail performance, whatever. And then from there, that actually gives me an idea. I might try that now, thumbnail performance. But anyway, what you can do is get this thing to train on some set of data, create hypotheses, and then based on a certain performance that was hit, if you believe and you feel comfortable to let this thing out into the real world, to go out there, collect data, and then from there, make informed decisions on whether we should adjust our strategy, revert, change something, or keep. And this is extremely powerful because this is where we're like entering in the world where these things can self-improve and self-modify themselves to become absolutely insane. And I did that with mainly just prompting my agent and then just kind of peeking under the hood what's going on and kind of just explaining what the goals are, right? So how can you actually do this yourself? It's very simple. Don't think you have to do some sort of crazy math or anything like that. All you really have to do is just identify what exactly it is you're trying to tweak. So is it some sort of conversion landing page on an e-commerce product? Are you trying to build your own trading strategy? Are you trying to do something else? Figure what that is. Figure out where you want to get this thing deployed. So I got this thing deployed on a Hermes agent. This is something new I've been testing. So if you don't know what Hermes is, it's kind of like OpenClaw, but the main big difference is this thing can self-learn and improve over time. That's what people are saying. So I'm still messing around with it to see whether or not there's like any real value in it. But nonetheless, what I did was I prompted the agent to go to this GitHub repository, copy or just download the GitHub repo into my virtual private server. Once it downloaded the GitHub repo, what it did was we accessed the core files. I outlined the goal. What exactly is that I'm trying to do? I connected the tools of like Alpaca here, in this case, to trade online crypto. I got my account set up, I got the tools, I built the skill, and then what we did here, we started running some loops. So I literally just prompted this thing to go out there and research its own strategy. It researched the strategy, it devised one, I looked through it, and by the way, I used to trade, so I kind of understand like how I was kind of guiding it through, like what we could potentially do. I don't want to say I was the most successful trader or like I was successful with it, but like I do kind of understand the idea behind it and like what to do. So it did kind of help here to like explain and see what it's doing so I can at least understand. And I wanted just to point it towards a certain direction of like how we could potentially trade. But at the end of the day, like I didn't tell it the strategy. It just showed me what it's doing. It asked me for some options. It asked me for what we can potentially work off. Like, what's the goal here? Are we trying to trade on an hourly basis? Are we trying to do price action trading? Are we trying to trade news? You know what I mean? So I mainly just handed it off to the agent to let it figure out its own strategy, because that's at the end of the day what I wanted to do. It's the lowest effort thing, kind of a benefit of just like working with an AI, because it could just figure things out. I literally just plugged it the right tools, the skills, and gave it the right information and goals that I'm looking for, and then just got to work, created this research. It found the best performance after a couple iterations and letting this thing run. And once it devised and found some sort of outputs that we're looking for that could be potentially good. And by the way, I fed it training data. So that's very important. You want to feed these things training data. I fed it 2 to 4 years worth of cryptocurrency data. I believe it's off Yahoo Finance and I believe also Binance. I forget. But I gave it this data, and this thing's been cooking for about a week now, and it's been cooking, you know what I mean? So we haven't still closed from these positions, so I don't know whether or not that's gonna grow, but every single time a new trading opportunity opens, it's gonna risk 10% of my account, my paper money account, and then from their trade. So whether or not the strategy works, I might just actually just put in some real money and see if this thing can like cook up some more profits. But nonetheless, like this is really how it goes. I was just trying to explain you the process of how I did it, how to think about it, and then how you can do it yourself. So don't think this is just for trading. I want to show you an actual real live example, and then how you can go out there and figure this out where there's a practical use case where if you can increase KPIs or some sort of metrics or some sort of measurable outcome that you're looking for, then you can apply this thing into and then just make your agent go on steroids. You know what I mean? You can make it so powerful this way. That was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you in another one.